Hi everyone and welcome to a new video on the CBI channel. In this tutorial series we're creating themes inside of our Django and React application with the help of Material UI. This is not the first video in this series, in fact we've already done two before, in which we've added a custom theme to our React.js frontend, and I showed you how you can switch between a light and a dark theme using a Material UI switch component. In this video, we're going to continue and we're going to be creating a select field inside of our application in which the user can pick from various themes. And in the end, it's going to look something like this inside of our application, where we have a big select field on our settings page, and the user will be able to pick through multiple different themes, and that will be immediately applied to the application. Now, to create that, we're going to be following 5 steps. First, we're going to be creating an additional theme inside of our application so that we have more than 2 themes to pick from. Then we're going to be adding a basic select form to our project using Material UI, and we're going to be adding some logic to select the different theme options through that form. When it is complete, we're going to see how we can pass the value of the form to our app.jsx page so that we can actually apply the theme based on the value of the form. And as the last step, we're going to test to make sure that everything works the way that we expect. So the first step is to create some additional themes so that we don't just have the light theme and the dark theme that we have created in the previous videos, but also some variations on that. So what I'm going to be doing is copy over the light theme file and then pasting that. But in this case, I'm going to be giving it the name of green theme. And also inside of the green theme.jsx file, I'm going to be giving it the name of green theme and make sure that that is available as well here. Now, right now it is exactly the same as the light theme, but we can quickly change that by changing the primary and the secondary color to some green color codes. Now, you will remember from the previous video that we have this site from htmlcolorcodes.com, but you can do this wherever you would like to do it. And in there, I have a few color codes for green. And in this case, I'm going to be picking up this one right here from Cadet Blue. And we're going to use that as our main color. And let's save that. And let's also pick something for our secondary color. And let's just do a little bit of a citrus color like this. And then we can paste that in right there. So now next to the dark theme and the light theme, we will also have the green theme so that we can pick from multiple options. Now in the previous video, you can see that in the settings.jsx file, we used a switch to make a difference between the dark mode and the light mode. However, in this example, we have more than 2 themes. So instead of a switch, we're going to be adding a select form. So we can actually get rid of this piece of code right here. And we now need to make sure that we have a select form in here so that we can pick between the different themes that we have created in our app. And to do that, we're going to go over to the documentation from Material UI. And under the components, we're going to go to select. And you can see right here that there are a bunch of different options that we can pick in order to have a select field. So you have a basic example, but also if you scroll down a little bit more advanced examples. However, for us, a basic example works just fine. So we're going to go to the basic select option and expand the code and make sure that it's on JavaScript. Then I can copy over the entire code and we're going to be adding that to our settings.jsx file. So I'm just going to copy it in just below the code that we actually had. And what we need to copy over are the constants on the top. So the constant of age and set age and the constant of handle change. And we can put that in the place right here for the settings. And then also we're going to be copying over all of the imports and put them on the top right here. And as a last step, we are going to be copying over everything from the return statement and pasting that in inside of the return statement of the settings. And let's fix those indentations. And now we only have the bases here left and we can just get rid of that. So in the end, it will be quite a similar structure for our settings.jsx file. Now, a few things we can immediately change. Right here, I can get rid of the box because we don't really need that. And we can already change the label of this form to pick a theme. And then we might also want to copy this over and also have it as the label right here. And let's save this. And also we can get rid of the import of the box. So now that we have this new select field on our settings file, let's start the server and see what it looks like. So we can cd into our front end and then do npm run dev to start our React server. Now when we get there and we go to the settings page, you can see that we have this option for pick a theme. And right now it shows the options that were available in the default example. So we have the options of 10, 20 and 30 and not our themes at this moment. So let's now add some logic so that we can pick between our themes right here. And then later on, we will make sure that the theme is then reflected inside of our app. So right here, we need to change a couple of things. First off, we don't want to have these options that are provided right here, but we actually want to provide in a list of options from our app.jsx file into this form. So let's get started with that. So we'll start in our app.jsx file, and below the logic from the previous video, I'm going to define a constant, which is going to be called options. And then we do an is sign and some square brackets. Now what I want to do in here is create a list hard-coded of all of the different options that we have inside of our application for themes. So the ones that we already have right here are the dark theme and the light theme. So what we can do is open up some squarely brackets and state that the name of the first available option is going to be the dark theme. And then we can say that the value there is equal to dark theme. Then we can do the same thing and also provide an option for using the light theme. And then set that to light theme. And we can then also do an import on the top of our green theme and make sure that we have the option added here as well, so that there are 3 different options the user can pick from. So we say green theme and the value is going to be equal to green theme. Okay, so now we have all the options right here inside of our app.jsx file, but we need to pass them to our form and make sure that those are reflected in here in the settings.jsx file. So how do we do that? Well, we saw in the previous video that we can do it through parameters. So on the top, I can say that the settings function right here expects something to be provided for options. So let's save that. And then in our app.jsx, under the settings page right here, we can pass the options through the options parameter. So we say options is equal to, and then we define options. And now we have passed the options from the app.jsx file to our settings.jsx file. And we can use that to make sure that those options that we have defined are actually going to be available as the different items right here. So I'm going to get rid of the 2 items on the bottom. And what we will do is we're going to loop over the different options and create a menu item for each of them. So what we can do is we can do some squarely brackets in here. And then we say that we want to do options.map. And in there, we're going to give it an alias in the round brackets called option. So each of the options we identify as option. And then after the option, we do an arrow function and some round brackets. And now for each of the options, we want to create a menu item. So we can copy over the menu item and make sure that we get a menu item for each of the options in that option list. Now, right now, it is setting a value, which is going to be what the actual value of the form is, but also a label, so what the user is going to see in the front end. Now, what I want to do is in the app.jsx file, we have the name as what the user sees in the form, and the value, what we actually want to pass in as the theme, because those are the actual themes. So right here, we're going to set the value equal to option.value, because in our app.jsx file, the theme is actually defined as the value. And then we can say that the text that the user is going to see is going to be equal to option.name, because we have defined that as name right there. And let's save this. And when we now look inside of the options of this form, you can see that we have dark theme, light theme, and green theme. So we can now pick those options. However, the issue that we have right now is that this handle change is going to change the value, and that is going to manipulate the set age constant, because this constant is what actually stores the value. However, the value of that form needs to travel back to our app.jsx file because we want to pass in the theme from here. So what we need to do is we need to move these constants to our app.jsx file and then also add them as parameters so that we have everything available in our app.jsx file. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy over these two constants, and in our app.jsx file we can place them below our options. And right now our constant is being called age and set age, but that isn't really that descriptive for what it actually is. So we're going to call it theme and then set theme. And then this react.useState, we can just let it be useState. Then we also have the handle change, which we're just going to be called handle form change because yeah, that's what we're doing. And then we also need to change the set age to the set theme. So now it's going to put it in the same one, but we renamed it. Okay, and now we have this logic right here. So that seems to be working just fine. However, we need to now pass in the value of age, or what is now theme, and the handle change, we need to pass that to the parameters of the settings, similarly as what we did before. So in our settings.jsx file, we can say that we now also expect a value to be provided. So we can add that right there. And what I also want to have is the handle change. So let's also put in handle change. And then we can go to our app.jsx file and then add the value right here and say that the value of the form is always going to be equal to theme, and that we're going to be changing the value of our form with the handle form change function. So the handle change is going to be pointing towards the handle form change. And just by doing this, it works exactly the same way as before, but now we have the constant that holds the value of the form in our app.jsx file, instead of having it in the settings.jsx file. So let's see if the value is actually reflected correctly by doing a console.log. And we want to know what is the value. And then we can say that we want to have the theme as the console.log. And now we are in our front end, and when I inspect this and I go to the console, and every time that I now change the theme, you can see that it actually has the entire theme inside of the value. So it's doing it now correctly. Now, two things that I would like to change. First of all, I always want to have a default, because if I now refresh this page, it says pick a theme, but nothing is selected. And by default, we always want to have one of the themes selected, because otherwise the user will not see anything right there. So for that change, we can say right here that the default, which is in between this use state thing, is always going to be the light theme. So let's save that. And now when we refresh this page, it will always be on light theme, and we can just switch the value based on that. Now, the other thing which is most important is we actually want the theme to change when we do this. And that's now very easy, because what we can do is we can take the constant of theme and then say that the theme of our total app is equal to the value that stores the value of the form. So if I now save this and we go back, we will not see any immediate changes right here. But if I now switch to the dark theme, you can now immediately see a change in our application. And the same goes if we go to the green theme, you can see that we have this lime color and this green background right here. So this seems to be working just fine. Now, for the sake of consistency, we're going to be doing one last thing, and we can actually delete everything from our app.jsx file on the top, because all of this logic was for our previous video, and we no longer are going to switch between dark mode and set is dark mode. So we can just clean up our app.jsx file a little bit right here. and also get rid of this import. And in our green theme, I actually just don't really like the color. So let's just switch that for a minute. I'm going to make the main color the secondary color, and I'm going to make the secondary color the main color. And when we now do that, it should be a little bit different because the green theme now looks like this. And that's actually all for this video. In this video, I showed you how you can switch between themes with a select field so that you can switch between more than 2 themes. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.